The race here at Simply Race Milton Keynes. The guys are just on the grid and getting ready to start. Hello and welcome to the Team Rex Karting Heats race here at Simply Race Milton Keynes. We're just about to get going in the first race. For the first race we've got a random grid in pod number position, so pod number order I should say. Callum Rankin starting on pole, Curtis Hills in second, Rob Ellis in third, Ryan Crouch in fourth, Chris Kroll in fifth, Natalia Kroll in sixth, Libby Harrington in seventh, Sergio Fletcher in eighth, Richard Gartland in ninth, and Lee Darts in 10th. You can ignore the pod 11, that's just a spare simulator waiting just in case any issues. With the lights coming on. And away we go for the first race. One of the drivers has got the steering wheel upside down at the back. I think that's might be Lee Darts, but we're underway into the first corner. Good start from Callum Rankin from pole position. Oh, contact behind. That's Curtis Hills, who's got a bit sideways, but manages to get back on the track. Coming into turn 3. This is where a lot of incidents usually happen. On board then with Sergio Fletcher as he looks to make a move into turn 3. So I'm not sure who that was. It was sideways, but we've lost one of the drivers into the chicane. And Sergio Fletcher making a great move up the inside there into second place. A little bit wide on the exit, manages to keep it under control. And this is on board with Rob Ellis, looking to make a move and a little bit of contact into the right-hander. This keeps both drivers keeping it on the track, however. So it's pretty close then with halfway through the first lap. Really close now between Curtis Hills and Richard Gartland on board with Curtis through the chicane. We've got to be really careful here not to cut any corners. Drivers have been warned that their lap times may be deleted, but also they might get a stop-go penalty if they unfortunately do cut any corners, and that will be applied automatically by the computer. So there's no prejudicial stewarding with that. It's all automatic. And wide there from Rob Ellis as he moves down to 5th, and Curtis Hills gets promoted to 4th. Rob's a little bit out of shape coming out there as well, having to defend from Chris Kroll. And all the drivers go a bit wide. Chris Kroll, the most of them, but he does manage to keep it in a straight line. So good driving from all of these drivers at the end of their first lap. So let's have a look at the order currently. Sergio Fletcher has taken the lead from Callum Rankin somewhere on the track. We're not sure where. We'll have to see if we can get a replay. I don't know if we will be able to, but let's see what we can do. Oh, and Chris Kroll gets very, very sideways. And that means Rob Ellis is able to get back through. Chris Kroll now under pressure then from Ryan Crouch. On board with Ryan into turn 3. This is obviously where Fernando Alonso had his big crash this year. A bit wide there from Ryan. Looks like he's holding the throttle on a bit too much through the corners. Needs to be a bit more patient coming back onto the gas. Oh, and who's that in front? That looks like... let's have a look. Rob Ellis. So Rob Ellis has gone off somewhere. Let's have a look what happened. So let's have a look, see if we can... This is a replay at the moment. So this is Rob Ellis. Just gets a little bit wide on top of the big curb. So they sort of ground out the car and he's spun out. And that's lost him a couple of positions. So Rob Ellis now down into 7th place. So relatively close though still. This is Chris Kroll with at the moment. But actually behind him there is a good battle, I believe, between Richard Gartland and Ryan Crouch. So Richard Gartland is the car that we're on board now. Coming into the right-hander. Nice and cautious. and that's someone off ahead. And that's squeezing. Who was that? That was Richard Gartland. He was squeezing, and it's side by side between Richard Gartland and Ryan Crouch now. And Richard Gartland's through. Ryan Crouch is through. I think that's Chris Kroll, who was off on the grass. So unfortunately for Chris Kroll, he's now down actually into 7th place. He's lost place to Rob Ellis as well. Coming to oh no, there's 2 drivers. They've got it wide and got onto the grass and spun out. So that's Rob Ellis and Chris Kroll both spun at the last corner. It is quite close at the moment between Ryan Crouch and Richard Gartland. Gartland on board with Richard. Oh, very, very close. A little bit of contact, but nothing too serious that causes any incidents. You've got to be very careful on the throttle when you do get a little bit wide, as Richard just did. You don't accelerate too quickly, get the wheel spin, and just spin out. Very cautious there. Oh no, I've got hearing that Callum Rankin's just spun it, so let's see what we can do in getting a replay of that. I don't know if we're going to be able to. There we go. Let's have a look. This is the incident where Callum Rankin spun it, coming into the chicane. Oh, just a little bit of turning and braking, really. I don't think he's running any stability control, which prevents that kind of thing, but does make the car a little bit more tail happy. So back to live then. This is Callum Rankin. He's still 15 seconds off the race leader Sergio. But still close between... Oh, was that Callum off again? So still close between Ryan Crouch and Richard Gartland. Actually, ahead of them is it's Curtis Hill. So this could be developing into a nice, interesting 3-way battle for 3rd position. So bring out the tower on the left-hand side if we can. 1 second. So at the moment, you've got Sergio Fletcher leading from Callum Rankin, 16 seconds between them. Then 12 seconds back is Curtis Hills, and there's a move being made off circuit, and that little bit of a slide kind of serves, I think it's Ryan Wright there, because he did go off track to try and make that move, and well, unfortunately for him, but fortunately for Richard Gartland, it didn't really pay off for him. So Richard is still in 4th place, and Ryan's got some work to do to catch up. So to reiterate, Callum Rankin in 2nd, then it's Curtis Hills, who's the driver in front of us at the moment, then it's Richard Gartland, who we're on board with. Ryan Crouch is the driver that just made that move up the inside of the last couple of corners, and there's someone off. There's 2 drivers off. I think that's Curtis Hills and one of the back markers, I think. Let's have a look. Let's try and find out who it was. Oh, and that is number 7. That's BB Harrington, who's taken off Curtis Hills there, which he won't be very happy with. So that's dropped Curtis down to 4th place, which is up into 3rd. And that's Curtis there, who we're just on board with, going past BB. Oh, BB goes very fast into that corner and straight on into the kitty litter. So a little bit earlier on the brakes, I think it would be necessary from BB. Right, we only got halfway through because the things keep happening. Richard Gartland 3rd, Curtis Hills, who we are following at the moment, in 4th. Ryan Crouch is catching up in 5th, so he's just at the back of the picture. Then we've got Chris Kroll in 6th, Rob Ellis in 7th, Lee Darts in 8th, Natalia Kroll in 9th, and BB Harrington in 10th position. So that's... this is our 2nd place driver, Callum, and this is where Sergio is. Sergio is trying to make his way past and to lap. Who's that? That's Natalia Kroll. So he's going to be wanting Natalia to... Well, there we go. She's made a bit of a mistake, gone off, and he's through nicely. So race leader Sergio having a good time out front. In the meantime, Curtis Hills, I think, is catching Richard Gartland at the moment with 1 minute left. Now when it reaches 0 minutes in the top left hand corner of the screen, it will the race will be over, but it will be the next time after it hits 0 that the race will finish. So when it hits 0, it depends on where Sergio is as to whether we get another lap or not as Curtis Hills goes a bit wide and rejoins the circuit. So that's going to cost him a bit of time when he's chasing Richard Gartland for third place. So now the only thing we're not sure of is whether any of the drivers have received penalties for cutting any corners anywhere. So that will become clear at the end of the race. If they don't serve a stop-go penalty, they will basically they'll get a lap added on to their result. So it'd be interesting to see if any of them have got any of those penalties. I did warn the drivers before the race that would be happening. So Curtis Hills then still looking forward to just trying to catch driver ahead. Now, are we going to get another lap? I think we are, because Sergio's on his next lap now. So we will have another lap for the drivers behind. Obviously, Sergio's on his last lap. We've hit 0 minutes, so next time Sergio crosses the line will be the end of the race. So just race control giving a message to the drivers there to keep going, until the checkered flag comes up in the top left-hand corner of the screen. So the gap between these two drivers is about 3 seconds, which is probably the closest battle on circuit at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's just follow our race leader. Looks like he's relatively clear in a way. I don't think there's any more traffic ahead of him that he's got to do. Just on the last part of the track now, through the fast chicane, and coming ahead into. It's a tricky right-hander here. You've got to use the marker boards on the left to gauge your braking point. But nice and smooth there from Sergio, and driving very, very nicely. Meanwhile, Curtis is catching slightly, I think. Although, yeah, there we go. Still a bit of a distance between the two. We'll see by the end of the lap whether any progress is made. Oh, and Sergio's had a spin on the last corner. However, Callum Ranking's too far away to make up for the distance. And Sergio comes across the line to take the victory. And this is Callum Rankin in second, going a little bit wide again. And but he will be taking second place anytime now. Still 2 seconds between Curtis Hills and Richard Gartland. I think that is probably going to stay as it is unless something drastic happens. What a sideways moment from number 4, Ryan Crouch, through the chicane. I don't think he held it there. I don't know if you saw that in the back of the screen, but that was quite impressive. As they come through the last couple of corners, Curtis, is he going to get a good run on Richard? It's pretty close. We're on board. Where's the start-finish line? He's not going to quite make it, is he? Very defensive. That's a bit Schumacher-esque. And Richard Gartland then takes third place. Curtis Hills in fourth. Ryan Crouch in fifth. Sixth will be Chris Kroll. Seventh will be Rob Ellis. Lee Darts in 8th place. Natalia Kroll in 9th. BB Harrington. Natalia Kroll in 9th and BB Harrington in 10th position. Cool, so we'll be taking a couple of minutes. Bear with us and we'll be back with the next race. Okay, so we are now on the second race of today's Teamworks Karting Heats event here at Simply Race Milton Keynes. We've got a reverse starting grid, so I'll bring up the starting grid on the left-hand side. Lee Darts on pole, Richard Gartland in second, Sergio Fletcher in third. The lights come out, and away we go. Good start there from pod number 5, which was, I can't see, Ryan Crouch. Oh, it was pretty close through the first couple of corners. Someone's gone straight on there, and that's number 7. I think that's BB. And she's going to rejoin sideways. But luckily doesn't collect anyone else. And who's that collision with? It's pod 10 and... I can't see. I think it's 4. So Lee Darts and Ryan Crouch, I think. And they've caused a lot of carnage behind them as well. I'm not sure exactly how you can manage to crash so spectacularly in a straight line, but these guys have managed to do it. So congratulations, I guess, to them. So let's have a look at the leader. So Sergio Fletcher then, our race 1 winner, out in front again, starting from 3rd this time. So from last time. So he is dominant force. Callum Rankin in pod number 1 in 2nd. He's got a comfortable lead over Rob Ellis in 3rd. We've got Curtis Hills right behind Rob Ellis at the moment as they come into the chicane. Is he going to make a move? Oh no, that's way too aggressive on the steering, and he's actually ended up upside down. That was way too aggressive, and he's ended up spinning out there. So Rob Ellis still in 3rd place. We're now with Richard Gartland behind him. They go on board with Richard Gartland. There's yellow flags ahead of them. And you can see there where actually Richard's tried to stick it in with his accelerator and turned too aggressively, and that's caused Richard to spin out. So Rob Ellis has earned another reprieve with the drivers around him going off. Curtis Hills has rejoined in 5th place with Lee Darts, who did start on pole position in 6th. Ryan Crouch in 7th, so if we'll follow Ryan. He's overshot it. The drivers are too busy looking at the driver in front rather than where the actual corners are, forgetting to brake. And that's BB Harrington, who's now lost the position to Chris Kroll. And Chris Kroll gets 2 positions there, so lucky Chris. Well, I don't think he's had the best of first laps. There's Lee Darts going around the outside of Curtis Hills, who's had an accident, and then also having an accident himself. This is much more crazy than the first race. So just because there's so much chaos, we've actually ended up with the safety car automatically being deployed. So we can, that will be removed shortly. We have to wait probably a couple of laps just for it to be removed, but in the meantime the drivers are just being told to overtake any safety cars that do appear. This was Rob Ellis we're following at the moment. Callum Rankin ahead of him in 2nd, Richard Gartland in 4th. The Sergio Fletcher's only just... Sergio's gone off, I think. So then, Callum Rankin in 1st place. 2nd place, Rob Ellis, with Richard Gartland behind him. Lots of pressure there from Richard. We're on the nose cam of Richard Gartland. I think Richard was one of the drivers who tried to make a move on Rob Ellis earlier on, and I think overcooked it slightly. So searching and probing from Richard. Oh, and Rob's broke very, very early for that corner. I think that's the reason for that contact. Obviously being very cautious, Rob, but contact there between the two drivers. And who's that behind? This three-way battle. Sergio, who's recovering. Guys, again, ignore the safety car. Ignore the safety car, just keep going. So there was an interesting collision between those drivers there. We'll see if there's any penalties been given. Let's have a look at the replay. Is that the right replay? I don't think it is. Well, this is coming into the chicane, and that's contact there from Rob Ellis. Rob Ellis puts Sergio sideways and then carries on, but there's no position gain. But I think there was also contact the other way as well. Let's have a look. So that's Rob Ellis ahead of us, and we're on board with Richard Gartland. So there may well be a post-race penalty for that. We'll have to see. Well, Richard Gartland has now actually given position back to whether that was deliberate or not to Rob Ellis. So Rob Ellis is in third, Sergio Fletcher in second. Callum Rankin's leading at the moment. 1.9 seconds between the top two drivers. We then got Rob Ellis as well. Okay, so apologies for that, guys. I think we are back up and running without a safety car on circuit. I'm not sure, though. Let's double check. But yeah, apologies. There was a phone call I had to take. So just to bring up some clarity on who's where. Callum Rankin in the lead. On number 1, that's who we're following at the moment. Sergio Fletcher is our second place driver at the moment. Rob Ellis, consistent and staying in third place. Curtis Hills in 4th. Ryan Crouch in 5th. Richard Gartland dropped down to 6th place. So something's happened there. We're not sure. Let's see if we can find out why Richard Gartland is... right, so it looks like he's had a spin. So let's have a look. See what we can find out. Coming into the right-hander. Oh, there's a nudge there from... Who's that? Number 2. So, who's number 2? Number 2 is... Curtis Hills. So... It may well be a penalty there for Curtis Hills. That's cost a lot of time for Richard Gartland. So I imagine we will be seeing a penalty. Oh, Ryan Crouch is a little bit sideways coming out of the chicane, but holds onto it nicely. Oh, he's going to go for those big, big bumps. I thought that was going to throw him off. Manages to keep it pointing in a straight line, however. So let's have a look. Are there any really close ones? So Curtis Hills and Ryan Crouch. I think this is the battle that we're trying to, well, is best to follow at the moment. So Ryan Crouch is probably catching Curtis at this point in the race. There is currently just 1 minute remaining. Well, 12 seconds remaining. So this may well be the end of the race. So Callum Rankin, it just depends on whether we cross the line before or after the seconds expire. Ignore the table on the left hand side. That's going to change slightly. So it was actually Callum Rankin who's taken the victory, with Sergio Fletcher in second. Rob Ellis is third. So ignore the numbers. It's just because it's big penalties because the way the safety car works. So we'll give you an update on who finished where. We'll just it will be actually as it was just before Callum crossed the start-finish line. So it was Callum who won, Sergio Fletcher in second, Rob Ellis in third, fourth was Curtis Hills, fifth is Ryan Crouch, sixth Richard Gartland, Lee Darts in seventh, Chris Cole in eighth, Nathaniel Cole in ninth, and BB Harrington in 10th place. Okay, so we're just about to start the grand final. Sergio Fulcher will be starting on pole position. Callum Rankin in second. Third place will be Richard Gartland. Fourth place, Ryan Crouch. Fifth, Rob Ellis. Curtis Hills in sixth. Chris Kroll in seventh. Lee Darts in eighth. Natalia Kroll in ninth. And Bibi Harrington starting in 10th place. Just waiting for the lights to go out. And away we go. So relatively even start. There's one of the drivers who hasn't really got away too well, and that's Curtis Hills. So Curtis Hills has a bad start. Coming into the first corners, hope we avoid as much chaos as we had last time round. Looks a lot cleaner. There we go. So Sergio Fletcher getting away nicely from pole position. Callum Rankin in second. Third place, Ryan Crouch. Fourth, Richard Gartland. A bit of a it's a bit quite close behind. This is Rob Ellis we're on board with at the moment. Who's had quite a bad start, starting from fifth down to seventh, and that's on the left-hand side. Chris Kroll, I believe, who's gone wide. So that gives a place back to Rob Ellis, and Curtis Hills also gets past Chris Kroll after that mistake into turn 3. Richard Gartland putting Callum Rankin under pressure. Callum Rankin being in third means that Ryan Crouch has obviously moved up somewhere into second. Ooh, a bit wide from Richard. Sorry, not Richard, Callum. Callum's had a bad first lap so far. He's down into fourth place, and I can hear all sorts of expletives in the background. Oh dear, there's Chris Kroll who's just gone round. Let's have a look. I think one of the drivers might be stuck. There's Chris Kroll making an ambitious move on Lee Darts. Unfortunately, that has ended up with him spinning out. Elsewhere, we have got Natalia Kroll, who's stuck on top of a tyre barrier. She's now been reset back to the pits. And there she goes, back out on circuit. So there we go, there's Sergio Fletcher, our race leader. Callum Rankin now back up into second place. Somewhere Callum has been able to get past. Curtis Hills in fourth place with Lee Darts behind. Chris Kroll coming around the last corner now in sixth, with Ryan Crouch, who's just had a spin, in seventh. There's Rob Ellis going around the outside very conventionally, I should say, into seventh place. So close between those two drivers. I'm sure they'll be a bit disappointed with their first lap so far. Who's that in the middle of the track? I think that is so it's Natalia, isn't it? So Natalia's car, for some reason, is in the middle of the track. See if we can get a replay of Natalia's incident on the first lap. So wow, okay, so quite impressive here. Cuts the corner too much, hits the inside barrier, flips upside down, digs into the gravel and in to the gravel trap. So quite an impressive crash. That has unfortunately caused Natalia to go out of the race. Oh, and a spin there from Callum Rankin. He's gone wide and onto the grass on the outside. Is that going to let Richard Gartland come past him? Where is Richard? Oh, Richard's a little bit further back, so I don't think that's going to change any positions. There's a good battle here between Chris Kroll and his driver friend Curtis Hills. Got to keep it nice and tidy through here. Obviously, this is the corner where Callum just had his spin. Yeah, we've got to stay well within the AstroTurf on the outside. Looks like Curtis had a great run off the last corner, so that's allowing him to pull away just a little bit from Chris. And a good move up the inside into turn 1 if he's able to make it stick. Apologies to for the lack of commentary there. We've had there's a bit of a tangle going on. So you can see if we can get a replay of that. So Richard Gartland, I think, had a bit of a spin. Let's have a look. Just gets wide, gets onto the grass, bit too much power into the wall, and reversing on, he's collected 2 of the drivers as well. However, I think those 2 drivers managed to get past him. So let's have a look at the standings as it is at the moment. Chris Kroll gets a bit wide there. So Callum Rankin into is second. So Chris Kroll in third. Richard Gartland's down into fourth. Curtis Hills in fifth. There's a spin from Chris. He just comes out of the corner, a bit sideways, overcorrects and gets spun round. So that's going to mean that he drops down a few places as well. So down into fifth then, Curtis Hills gets past him as well. 7 minutes remaining. Too hot there from Lee Darts, wide. And onto the grass, but holds it nicely. So then let's have a look at the gaps between the drivers. It should be on the left-hand side of your screen at the moment. Sergio Fletcher leading by 45 seconds ahead of Callum Rankin. Richard Gartland in third place. Curtis Hills in fourth. Chris Kroll in fifth. And that's the closest battle on circuit at the moment. So, bit of a spin from Chris. Just to confirm what's happened, Rob Ellis had a bit of an issue with his sim, so we're going to restart in the order that we were in before Rob had his issue. So there's 2 seconds and we'll get going again. Okay, so we're back on the way with our grand final. So the drivers are back in position that they were in when they finished the first part of the grand final. Obviously, there was a bit of an issue with Rob Ellis's sim, so we're going to restart from there. So 10 minutes we're going to do for this final section of the race. I think it was 7 minutes in, but we'll reset to 10. The lights come on. Drivers wait for them to get the green, and away they go. A rubbish start there from who's that? That's Curtis Hills, who really didn't get away coming into turn 1. A move up the inside by not sure who that was. I think it was Chris Kroll, but anyway, Chris Kroll's through into 3rd. Sergio Fletcher down into 5th. So our race leader is down into 5th place. Then be interesting to see how he gets on. This is Sergio now we're on board with, coming through turn 3. And the driver's on his right-hand side, sorry, his left-hand side, a bit wide, and that was Ryan Crouch into the barrier, I think. It might not be Ryan, actually, because Ryan hasn't moved. So apologies, Ryan, if you're listening and watching this back. And that was an incident there between Sergio and BB. Was it BB? No, sorry, that's number 5. So number 5 is Chris Kroll. We'll watch that again after the race. So no decision on that just yet, but Sergio is up into 4th place as it stands without any penalties. In the front, Callum Rankin is leading. 2nd place, Richard Gartland, with Ryan Crouch just behind. We're on the nose cam of Ryan Crouch as we go through the chicane. And behind him, we've got Sergio Fletcher as well. So Sergio hunting down these 2 drivers, because we know that Sergio is a very quick driver, but he's going to have to work very hard, especially if he gets a penalty, to regain his positions. Close through the right-hander, under braking. And that's Sergio, who's caught right up to the back of Ryan Crouch, on board with Ryan through the last couple of corners. Takes a nice late apex, gets in the power at the right time, biding his time looking for the cutback. A bit wide there from the driver ahead. Cuts into the slipstream. Over to the right-hand side of the track. He's going to make a nice move up the inside here into turn 1, I think. Good move from Sergio. Keeps his line. And oh, that's caused Sergio to spin. Now, I think, if anything, that was a bit of turning in on Sergio there from the other driver. So let's just watch that again. Oh. Sorry, they can't. There we go. Here we go. So, yeah, if anything, I mean, driving the outside isn't really giving him enough space. Whether or not that warrants a penalty or not. I mean, there is still space on the inside for Sergio to go into. It's just Sergio was trying to hold out for the preferred racing line. But really, it was a significant portion of Sergio's car ahead. But anyways, what's happened here is that Sergio's down to 4th place with a penalty looming over him. Ryan Crouch in 3rd, which is the driver he had the contact with. And Richard Gartland. Whoa! What happened there? His back of the car hit the side of the barrier. Right, okay. And then he's managed to spin out completely. And let's see where he is, where he comes back. And so Sergio is now into 3rd. And let's have a look. So Richard Gartland then under pressure from Sergio now. And round the outside goes Sergio. Richard Gartland trying to tuck back into the toe. But a really good drive off that last corner from Sergio, and he's through into 2nd place at the moment as it stands. Lee Darts. I mean, a good battle here with Chris Kroll, a bit wide through the last corner, for 2nd to last corner. So then, Lee Darts, we're following at the moment, who is currently chasing Chris Kroll. Oh, sideways moment, sideways and onto the grass, but held out the barrier quite nicely there from Lee Darts. Good car control. Yeah, and obviously needed to brake a little bit early for the corner, but good control to keep it pointing in generally the right position. Let's have a look at the timing screen. So bring up on the left-hand side of your screen. Callum Rankin's leading by 5 seconds ahead of Sergio Fletcher, who is potentially getting a penalty. In 3rd place is Richard Gartland, Rob Ellis in 4th, Chris Kroll in 5th. Lee Darts in 6th, Curtis Hills in 7th, Natalia Kroll in 8th. 9th is BB Harrington, and 10th is Ryan Crouch. So I'm not sure if there's any really close battles at the moment on the circuit. This is who we're on board with at the moment. This is Lee Darts. Who's got Curtis Hills quite far behind him, and then quite far behind him is Natalia Kroll, another 10 seconds or so. BB, this is BB now. There we go, much better than we saw earlier on in the races. So keeping the track nicely, obviously using the brakes a lot more now. So BB in 9th place, and Ryan Crouch, after an accident, as I think he's called it a day, and parked up in 10th place. So this is Callum, our race leader, just by 2.6 seconds though, from Sergio, who's catching quite quickly. Last time round, Sergio was actually 4 seconds quicker than not only Callum, but he's basically 8 seconds quicker than the next fastest driver after Callum. So incredibly quick driver is Sergio. Oh, side by side, and that was predictable really from that. Let's have a look at that, side by side with BB, and tries to go on the outside. And actually, really, that's not BB's fault there at all. She's staying to the inside. I think she probably would have made the corner, and Sergio misjudged the cutting back, and it's ended up with him going off into the barrier. So let's see. Let's go back to the live racing, where Sergio rejoins back into second place, 3.5 seconds off the race leader now, after that incident. Richard Gartland. Oh, and Sergio's gone round. Okay, bit of a spin there. Let's just watch that spin, see what that was all about, as I missed it. I was too busy looking at the timing screen. So gets into last corner. Oh, just a bit of oversteer. It's almost like it's a bit too much power too soon. Gets a bit on the grass as well, and overcorrects. Best thing to do with these things is just take your foot off the accelerator and keep the steering wheel pointed, because if it bites the wrong way, you're definitely toast. So just a little bit too aggressive on the steering there when he's had a moment, and that's caused our favourite to spin out, and he's now 10 seconds off of Callum Rankin in first. So will he be able to make up that time? Probably not. There's only 1 minute left of the race, and we've got yellow flags in the first sector. You can probably see him on the top line. Elsewhere on circuit, Lee Darts is looking like he's probably catching Curtis Hills at the moment. Let's have a look. That's Lee Darts there, and ahead of him, just in the forefront of the picture a second ago, was Curtis Hills. So we'll keep an eye on that battle. As Callum Rankin, let's see where he is on circuit. So he is coming into the chicane. Now I don't think... Oh no, I don't know, where are we? I thought it was a chicane. It's the last part of the circuit. So we've got 39 seconds left on the clock. So we are probably going to see one more lap of racing. A final lap. Just about to start now. That's where... So we have to bear in mind that Sergio potentially is going to get a penalty. We will watch that closely. So if he does get a penalty, it'll be a lap penalty, which will bring him all the way down to 8th position. So I think he has to hope that the decision goes with him, and he has to try and make as much time as possible as he goes around the outside of Natalia, a little bit unconventionally on the grass as well. Sergio's gap has now reduced down just to 4.8 seconds. That's Natalia ahead. That's a back marker. So that will sure be dispatched shortly. 4 seconds. Callum is at the end of that straight, and but this is the final lap at the moment. Now, if we do get a penalty for Sergio, that means Richard Gartland will be promoted to second place, and there is Sergio going past Natalia. Richard Gartland will move into second place, with Rob Ellis likely to take third place on the podium, and the driver behind him is number 4, so that's Ryan Crouch, who's back markers had a rejoin the circuit now, so having a bit of a battle with Rob. But yeah, so it's likely that Rob Ellis will end up in third position. Now, congratulations to Callum Rankin as he crosses the line to take the victory. Sergio Fletcher coming home in second, pending penalties. Richard Gatlin just about to come home in provisional third. This is Rob Ellis here under pressure from Ryan Crouch, who he's not really racing against, but keeping it nice and tidy there. There we go. Much tidier than we've seen from some of the other drivers through that corner. A bit aggressive on the outside. So top 3 provisionally have finished. Chris Cole is behind in 5th. This is Curtis Hills in 6th. Lee Darts in 7th. Natalia has finished a lap down. Bibi in 9th, and Ryan Crouch just about to finish behind Rob Ellis there in 10th.